Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about the polling feature inside Zoom. What is it, why might you use it, and how do you use it? So let's go ahead and get started. Here's the first thing to note. Polling is only available to teachers that are facilitating their Zoom sessions from a Windows computer or from a Mac computer. You can only do it using the little downloaded piece of Zoom software that lives on those operating systems. If you are hosting your Zoom session from a Chromebook or if you're hosting it from a web browser, you will not have the polling feature. It's not something that has been ported over to those platforms yet. So if you want to use this, you got to make sure you're hosting your Zoom session from a Windows machine or a Mac machine with the little piece of Zoom software installed in the background. The good news is, though, if you are a participant, so for your students, it doesn't matter what kind of device you're on. Polling, they can fill out a poll from a Windows machine, a Mac machine, or from a Chromebook. So that portion doesn't matter at all. But if you want to use this, make sure you're hosting from a Windows or a Mac computer. The second thing to know is that the polling feature is only available for pre-scheduled meetings. So I'm in my Zoom profile right now. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, we always recommend scheduling your Zoom meetings ahead of time. And if you do this, poll will automatically be available for you in all of those. If instead you host a meeting where you just really quickly, you didn't plan it ahead of time, you're just going to host a meeting right now, you will find that polling is not available for you. It's only in the ones that get pre-scheduled. So to demo this for you, I've set up a couple of meetings. I've set up one over here called Period 1, and this one is one that I've previously scheduled, but I haven't added any polls to. If I want to build a poll in advance, let's say I'm going to have a session tomorrow, but I want to have some questions preloaded and ready to go, I can click on the name of this session. I will get to this page, which will look very familiar to you. This is the link that you pass out to your students. This is where you start your meeting, all that good stuff. If you scroll down, you will notice there's a new section down here at the bottom that says you have not created any poll yet. And to add a poll, you can click this add button right here. And this allows you to pre-create your polls for this session. So you can enter a title. You can enter a question. And then you can also enter in some answer choices. Up to you how many answers you want to put in there. Up to you whether you want to allow them to pick multiple ones or just a single choice. You can set this up however you'd like. If you want to add additional questions, you just click this button over here and you can add question after question after question. Now, this is really good for something informal. I would recommend this for a check for understanding. This would be great for a summative type of assessment during your direct instruction time or during your student interaction time. If you're looking for something more robust to check knowledge, I would recommend using Google Forms or quizzes or one of those tools that's out there that would allow you to do a little bit more of a formal assessment in your class. But if you just want to poll and get some information, if you just want to ask a question like, how's everybody feeling with the concept we learned yesterday? This is a great way to collect that information informally. So you can set up however many questions you would like. And once you've got this whole thing dialed in, then what you can do is click the save button here, and it will save this poll for you. So you'll see over here, I have poll number 1. It's called today's poll. There's one question in it. And if I want to add additional polls, I can add those additional polls right here. It's important to note, though, that polls are tied to specific meetings that you're having in Zoom. So if you want to use the same poll in each class period, there's not an export function. What you need to do is recreate this poll for each one of the meetings that you have scheduled. So that's one way that you can set it up ahead of time, and then it's ready to go. When I launch the Period 1 meeting tomorrow, that poll will show as available for me. But let's say you're in a meeting today and you forgot to set up a poll ahead of time, but you decide, oh, I do want to actually poll my students on something. Have no fear, you can still do it. The important thing to know, though, is that you still have to set it up ahead of time. It still has to be done through scheduling a meeting. So I have a meeting over here called Demo Meeting. You'll see it's running right now. I never scheduled a poll ahead of time. But if I open up this meeting, you'll notice I have it right over here. I have the poll button available to me. And if I click it, if I had polls set up, I would have them all listed here. And if I haven't set them up ahead of time, this is where I can go ahead and set them up. So when I click that button, it takes me back over here to the website. Let's call this thing poll 2. And so we're going to ask what's the best sport, and we'll give 2 options, baseball, and this one will be golf. And now what I'm going to do is click save. And so I've basically added this poll to my meeting that is happening right now. I can go back over here to my meeting and you'll see, here we go. I've got poll over here. It's set up. It's called poll 2. What's this best sport? I've got 2 options. If I want to launch this for my students, I can now click launch polling. And as soon as I do that on all of my students' screens, they will have this poll pop up that's asking them that question. So I'm going to answer this really quickly. And you can see as students are answering it, you will see that data in real time. Now, students cannot see the results of this poll right now. Only you can. And so the poll is happening right now. We've got this little counting clock that shows how long it's been open. We can see we've got 3 of 3 that have answered. 100% have given the correct answer, baseball. And so this is looking pretty good. When I'm ready to end the poll, I click end polling over here. And again, I'm still just the one that gets to see this. I now have the ability to relaunch polling. If I closed it early and a couple students still wanted to get back in and answer, I could do that. Or I could just close this now. I saw what I needed to see and let's continue on with the lesson. Or I can also share my results back to students. If I click that, then the results, this little window that I have here pops up and all students can see that as long as I have it up. So polling is a really nice way to collect a little bit of information from our students. It's a great way to drive engagement during these direct instruction sessions and during these live check-ins with students to make sure that they're not just passively sitting there on the other end of the computer listening to you talk, but to instead get them involved in this conversation or get them involved in the education that's happening. So poll's a great way to do that. We recommend setting them up ahead of time so that it's not quite as labor intensive while you're in the session. But if you need to do it on the fly, you can always click this and you can always get a new poll going at any point, and it'll pop you back over there to the main interface to be able to add those things. Let's see, is there anything else I needed to cover? It's only available for scheduled meetings. It's only going to be available for you, since it is kind of a premium feature, if you have synced your Zoom account with your Clever profile. So if you haven't yet done that, check out our first video on getting started with your RUSD Zoom account through Clever. And that'll show you how to log in through Clever and get your Zoom and your Clever kind of tied together so that you have this premium feature, because that's included in one of the things that the district bought with the education plan for all of this. Remember, if you want to facilitate it, it's Mac or Windows computers only. For students to participate in it, they can be on any device, a Chromebook, a Windows computer, and a Mac. All of those things work. All right, I hope you got a lot out of this video. Thanks for checking it out with us, and have some great experiences out there doing some polls with your students.